Hello and welcome to LSU Focus. It is post-match reaction showtime after Liverpool have just absolutely walloped Atalanta in their own backyard in Bergamo by 5-0 to go clear at the top of our Champions League group. I believe that puts us 5 points clear of anyone else. Atalanta stay stuck on 4 points even. Ajax go up to 4 points after beating Midtjylland today, but Liverpool have still got that perfect 100% record and they continued it in style today. And then there is of course only one place I can possibly start this video, and it is of course the hat-trick hero, Diogo Jota. It just about works. I think we're rolling with it for now at least. It certainly seems to be working in terms of how it is an apt description of what he's doing on the football pitch. He has been absolutely phenomenal in front of goal since he signed for Liverpool. He's gone up God knows how many levels since he arrived from Wolves. It feels like Liverpool have just managed to unearth yet another gem, and the way he complements the rest of the front three as well is absolutely sublime. The fact that he can pretty much play in any of those three positions means that Mane and Salah, who can also kind of play anywhere across the front three, also had an absolute field day with that Atalanta defence today. And I think it's worth pointing out that Atalanta played into our hands a little bit. I think it's fair to say it kind of reminded me of the game against Roma at Anfield a few seasons ago as well, where we also scored 5 goals. They came to Anfield, they played a back three, and they played it very, very high up as well. Atalanta had a similar idea today, and of course, it has worked for them in the past, and maybe on another night a few variables go different ways and the game is a lot tighter than it ends up being, but certain things just seem to fall Liverpool's way today, and we found the perfect way to get around that Atalanta defence. And that's maybe why I don't think this is necessarily the end of Roberto Firmino. Of course, Jota was absolutely fantastic taking his place in the side tonight, but it felt like it was slightly horses for courses as well. It felt like Liverpool had gone with this front three, not just because Jota's in fantastic form and Firmino's not having the best time at the moment, but also because it suited the way Atalanta played and it was perfectly set up to exploit what they were doing with their defence. You know, just for starters, with that high line, the pace that all three of those Liverpool players had, it's an attribute I didn't think Diogo Jota necessarily had in his game. I didn't think he was slow, but I didn't back him to maybe have anywhere near the kind of pace that we see from Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah. But there were moments in that game where the ball was a little bit loose. There's one that I caught, I think it was in the first half, where he has to make a diagonal run to catch up with someone. He's probably got about 4 yards behind them that he's got to make up, and he makes it up absolutely superbly. I was watching the game with my dad, and he said that the way Jota runs and plays in general at the moment seems to remind him of Ian Rush. Of course, I can't back that up because I haven't necessarily seen that much Ian Rush in my time. But if he carries on scoring goals like that, then the comparison stands as well. But he's got great ability to catch up, and he's got fantastic pace, great strength as well, you know, muscles off defenders. That first goal he scores comes from the fact that the defender is trying to bring him down, trying to throw off his balance in a way that doesn't give away a penalty, but certainly makes it difficult for Jota to pull out any kind of meaningful finish to beat the goalkeeper. But Jota just shrugs the defender off and then pulls out an out-of-world finish with what is technically his weak foot. And I know he's another one of these sort of two-footed players. He's technically right-footed, but if you were to use FIFA terms, for example, he's probably got 4-star weak foot at least. You know, maybe not completely two-footed, but it certainly seems like he's very, very comfortable on both, and that's an attribute that we know Jurgen Klopp likes in his players. He wants players who are comfortable on both sides because it makes them more unpredictable. It makes it almost impossible for defenders to try and contain them because you simply can't cover both ways. You've kind of got to gamble and just hope and predict which way the player's going to go, and when you get it wrong, the results are catastrophic, and you allow them to have opportunities. That's kind of what happened right at the start of the game before Jota even got his first goal. He has a chance inside the first 2 minutes where he just kind of wriggles his way past the whole defence, gets a decent shot on, and to be fair, it's a good save from the goalkeeper, but it set the tone right from the off that he was in the mood and the Atalanta defence did not know what to do with him. And like I said, that finish for the first goal is absolutely superb. Great to see Trent Alexander-Arnold getting the assist as well. You know, he hasn't necessarily started the season too well, but I thought against Midtjylland he started to look like he was getting momentum. That was partially because also Midtjylland played a lot of their attacks down our left-hand side, which freed Alexander-Arnold up a little bit, and maybe it's no surprise with the current situation with the injuries we've got in defence that maybe the fullbacks almost have to take turns in being more attacking. And it did feel like Robertson didn't necessarily get forward as much as he maybe would have done on a usual night tonight, and that benefited Trent Alexander-Arnold, who gets up the pitch more, gets the assist as well. It's a great ball for Jota and a wonderful finish as well. And then of course he goes and does one better. The second goal is ridiculously good. I mean, the touch that sets it up is good, but not great. He's still got a hell of a lot of work to do. And the finish is just sublime, through the player's legs, low, down, powerful, past the goalkeeper. The keeper had absolutely no chance. And what really impresses me is when you watch it on the replays, he does not take his eye off the ball. From the moment Gomez plays that ball over to him, he doesn't look at the goal once. He's constantly watching it come down. Once he takes his touch, he's watching that bounce, the spin. He's reading everything about it, all the kind of variables that you or me, when we go and play down the park on a Sunday morning or anything like that, just do not take into account. Diogo Jota is making all those calculations in his head, never takes his eye off the ball, and then whams his foot through it for 2-0. And from there on in, you feel like Liverpool are in a really, really good position. Something that I've spoken about a lot over the last few weeks on this channel is that we're going to see a lot of games being ground out. We're going to see a lot of 1 or 2 goal margins. It's going to be tough for Liverpool to blow teams away under the current circumstances with the sheer volume of fixtures, pardon me, and the injury troubles that we're having at the moment as well. I've kind of been made to eat my words tonight. I still don't think that sort of thing's going to happen often. But when the opportunity is there for Liverpool to turn it on and absolutely start banging the goals in, then they clearly are welcoming those opportunities with open arms. And like I said, that 2-goal lead is so important in terms of it gives Liverpool the breathing space where they can start to be a little bit more free with their game. They don't have to play within themselves. It takes pressure off the back line as well. And I'll talk about Reece Williams a little bit later on in the video, but spoiler alert, I thought he was really good. And then, of course, we go in at half-time 2-0 up, and we just have that wiggle room that allows us to be more free and expansive in the second half, and we use that freedom to maximum effect. At least in the first 10 minutes, it was perhaps a little bit disappointing that once it went to 5-0, Liverpool kind of didn't throw in the towel and say that's it, what's done is done. I think we still had opportunities going forward, but maybe just weren't quite as clinical. And also Atalanta probably looked at the situation once it gets to 5-0 and thinks, the last thing we want is this getting anywhere near double figures. We should probably just shut up shop and be a little bit more careful. But the goals that get it to 5-0 are absolutely sublime. The Mo Salah goal, personally, I didn't think he was going to score. I thought once he cuts inside, which he was almost telegraphed he was going to do, because we know he prefers to get on that left foot regardless of the situation. But Mo Salah has always seemed to be a player who's better when playing on instinct, is what was so good about that first season in 2017-18. The fact that just every time he got the ball, he'd shoot early, he'd shoot decisively, and the ball would end up going generally in the back of the net. Since then, he's kind of become a little bit more kind of predictable, I think. Like I said, that cut inside, we all saw it coming. We expected him to do that to get onto his left foot. But when he finishes like that, you can understand why, that regardless of whether he's going to do it or not, if he starts finishing like that, there really isn't much you can do. And of course, the pace to get away from the defender in the first place means that the defender is scrambling back and can't contain Mo Salah in the usual way. And that's what allows him the room to turn, to push the defender away and then get the shot off, which is, as I said, absolutely fantastic. The fourth goal, again, sublime. Sadio Mane, again, a weak foot chip. Like I said, Jurgen Klopp absolutely loves players that have got that in their locker. It's the kind of thing we've seen Sadio Mane do a few times as well. He doesn't mind that chip on the left foot. He really varies the way he finishes. I talk about Mo Salah being a bit predictable in terms of he always wants to get it onto his left foot and bend it into that far corner. Sadio Mane has a few finishes that he tends to prefer, but he always shakes it up. We've seen him in that situation go low into the bottom, into the far corner with his right foot, and kind of open his body up and bend it in. We've seen him do those chip shots as well. We've also sometimes seen him just smack it with his left foot and try and hit one of the top corners. And that's what makes him so deadly going forward, because the goalkeeper can't predict what he's going to do and almost has to gamble. And by and large, up against Sadio Mane, if you want to gamble, you're probably going to lose. And that is what happened with the fourth goal. And then the third goal for Diogo Jota, the fifth goal for Liverpool in total, was sublime in so many ways. The ball from Sadio Mane, again, left-footed. He just wraps it round that entire Atalanta defence. It lands at Diogo Jota's feet. He maybe gets a little bit of fortune to get it past the goalkeeper. I think it bounces off the goalie on the way through, but you don't get that fortune if the ball isn't pitch perfect, if the running isn't pitch perfect, the ability to reach the ball in time, get it round the goalkeeper, and then to just slot it away, cool as you like, for a hat-trick. I did see a stat that said he's now got more Champions League goals than Everton, which is, well done, lad. What we love to see. And it's just going to do his confidence the world of good. The comparisons are, of course, now being drawn between Diogo Jota this season and Mo Salah in his first season. And you can see why. It's not just a numbers thing. It's not just about a player bursting on the scene and more than exceeding expectations on the goal front. It's the way just everything he touches seems to turn to gold. And more importantly, everything he touches turns to goals at the moment. It's just... whenever he goes through on goal. It happened against West Ham as well when Shaqiri put him through with 5 minutes to go and the score's locked at 1-1 already. He's only just arrived in a Liverpool shirt, but you're looking at it and thinking, that's a goal then. That's almost definitely going in. And it feels like whenever he's on the pitch, he's going to be getting in amongst the goals. He's going to be in the thick of the action. And that's what I really like about him as well. He's always involved. He's never on the periphery. As much as I love players like Mane and Salah and Firmino as well, sometimes they can be accused of drifting out of games a little bit. And that's no bad thing, because generally Mo Salah has these kind of games where he does nothing for 89 minutes. And then in that extra 60 seconds, he'll probably score 2 goals and win you the game. But Diogo Jota is a constant, persistent threat, a little bit closer to Sadio Mane in that regard, and we've seen plenty of comparisons with that. Sadio Mane and Diogo Jota, they have very similar attributes in very key areas of the game, and that's kind of why Liverpool has signed Diogo Jota, because he has everything that we look for in an attacker in the same way that Sadio Mane does. And what's really important is that they've proved they can play together. Jota doesn't have to be the backup to Sadio Mane, and that was maybe one of the early concerns, especially when he came on against Arsenal and kind of did exactly what Mane had been doing all game, was that he wasn't going to get those opportunities. What we've seen tonight, which is really, really positive, is they can work as a front three, because Jota can play left wing, Jota can play in the middle, he can play on the right as well, he can drop deep if necessary, and he can get right onto either touchline, and he is just as effective in all of those positions, and he helps out his teammates in that regard so well. And of course, we shouldn't forget that Firmino exists. I know he's not having a great time at the moment, but like I said, there was an element of horses for courses in the lineup selection tonight, and it's entirely possible that Jurgen Klopp looks at that game at the Etihad and thinks, as good as Jota has been, Firmino suits the system that he wants to play, and, I will not complain about that. Jurgen Klopp seems to know what he's doing. All the backroom staff seem to know what they're doing. They're the ones who signed Diogo Jota in the first place, so I'm absolutely sure they will know how to use him. But based on tonight's evidence, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't start getting a serious run in this Liverpool team, because when a player's scoring this many goals, it almost doesn't matter how they're playing, in terms of their overall game. It's a no-brainer. You've got to start them. Your hand has been forced. If a lad is scoring at least 1 goal every single game, you've got to get him on the pitch. And it's a massive bonus that he's also a brilliant footballer, and he complements those players around him so well. So brilliant performance from Diogo Jota tonight. He's got to get the Man of the Match award. I think there's absolutely no questions there, and he looks an absolute snip at 41 million as well. You almost feel bad for Wolves. Yet again, Liverpool have bought a player where maybe there were question marks about their price tag. People said that, you can understand why they paid that much, but are they really worth it? The answer, it seems, don't want to jump the gun, but yeah, already it looks like he's going to be worth it. So great performance from Diogo Jota. I think we do need to discuss the defence a little bit as well, because to keep a clean sheet against an Atalanta side that is so free scoring, 98 goals in the Serie A last season, which is, I think, the most goals of any team in the competition, that they have a reputation for, yes, conceding goals, as we saw tonight, but generally they concede goals because they score as well, because they leave so many players up the pitch, because they are such a brilliant attacking unit. And they're held in such high regard by coaches all around the world, Jurgen Klopp included, and he will be so happy with the way that his players defended tonight. Reece Williams included. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. We've seen Van Dijk comparisons already, not just because they're similar in terms of stature and they've got slightly similar haircuts and everything like that, but also because he's just, I don't want to say a Rolls Royce, because the kid's still 18 and we need to see a little bit more of him, but the way he controls the ball under pressure in difficult situations is phenomenal for a lad of his age, and that's why the Van Dijk comparisons are there. It's not just because he's also very good in the air, as we saw at various points tonight, but with his feet, he can receive the ball on the bounce in the air with his back to the rest of the team, and with pressure on him, and he doesn't have to hoof it clear. He's not booting it out for safety. He's happy and comfortable to play out the back, and that is so important to this Liverpool team. We've seen with players like Adrian, when someone isn't comfortable playing out from the back, it affects everyone all the way up to the top of the pitch. It affects how the attackers play, the midfield, the defenders. It changes how we can operate. So to have someone like Reece Williams, who maybe there were question marks about because of his youth, because of his inexperience, slot in and play the Liverpool way straight away, is a glowing indictment for the academy as well. It shows that everything they are doing is spot on, that they are producing talents who can be thrown into this first team at very short notice and know how to play and know how to slot in and get along with their teammates around them. And Reece Williams is just the latest in a long line of players that is doing that for Liverpool at the moment, and I was massively pleased with his performance tonight. And I don't want to jump the gun and say Joel Matip will do well to even get back in the side for the game at the Etihad. But listen, if he's not 100%, then I have no problem now with Reece Williams starting that game against Man City on Sunday. And I know I've said on this channel in the past, at some point it's probably going to go wrong for him. That happens for young players. It happened for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who had a great start to his Liverpool career and then had a couple games, including that one at Old Trafford, where things just went wrong and he really, really struggled. And at the end of the day, he cost us the game pretty much. But he'll kick on and learn from that. Hopefully it doesn't happen to Reece Williams this weekend. Hopefully it never happens, but it probably will. And in the long run, it will benefit him. But I don't want to get too bogged down in that. I would rather talk about how brilliant he was tonight. And he was so well composed on the ball. The same goes for Joe Gomez as well, who seems to be relishing his new role as the leader of the back line. Alisson Becker pulled out some top saves whenever he was called upon. And that's no surprise because, of course, Atalanta are a brilliant side. And at the end of the day, it is a slightly makeshift back line. It was kind of inevitable they were going to get chances, and the fact that we have probably the best goalie in the world, especially in one-on-one situations, which he faced a fair few of tonight, means that as a result we were able to come away with the clean sheet. And like I said, Jurgen Klopp will probably be almost as happy with the clean sheet as he will be with the 5 goals that we scored, because that's now 3 clean sheets in the Champions League. We haven't let in a goal in Europe so far this season, and at the other end of the pitch we've scored 8 goals, including 5 absolutely fantastic ones tonight. So all in all, hugely pleased with the performance. Like I said, I didn't think we were going to get many of those types of games this season, but as I said, the opportunity presented itself to Liverpool today and they took it with aplomb, and that will do the players the world of good. It will remind them of how they can play when they want to, when the opportunities are there, when defences play high up and when there are gaps round the back. Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Diogo Jota, Bobby Firmino as well, when he does get on the pitch, and also the fullbacks will know that those passes are on, those opportunities are still available. We can still be the absolute goal-scoring, rip-roaring Liverpool that we've seen in the past, regardless of the current situation. So fingers crossed we see some more of it in the weekend. I don't think it'll be quite as easy, but Liverpool are obviously in formidable form, and long may it continue. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, as always, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Hit the like button down there as well if you did enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button there if you're new around here. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel in the past. Don't forget to follow at ATALIV Focus TV on Twitter, and I'll be back soon with the pre-match content for the game against City. Until then, bye for now.